Hello folks, this is a video about the OneMix 3 Pro convertible laptop, and if you haven't heard of this before, it's one of these ultra small PCs or UMPCs, anyway, very tiny PCs. And to give you an idea of how small they are, I'm just going to zoom out a little bit and compare them to a 13-inch laptop. So this is a Dell 13-inch, and this is the OneMix, and you see it's about 40% of the size of the 13-inch. And you think to yourself, well, what is the use case for that? Well, the use case for me is commuting. Admittedly, I'm not doing very much commuting at the moment with the COVID thing, but what I can tell you is that this is awesome if you're a train traveller. So the problem with normal laptops is when you've got them on your lap and you're typing away, you've got your but you've got your elbows out. So if you're on a sort of tight commuter train, it's actually not very good for your neighbours, because you know, you're basically encroaching into their space. So I've been quite a fan of these ultra small PCs for a little while now, but one of the problems has always been is that they've always had, well, the power on them hasn't been too good. But this one I'm going to show you is pretty serious piece of kit. Now I'm just going to also show you the size compared to, this is an iPad mini. So it's pretty much exactly, the iPad mini is very slightly wider, but you'll see the iPad mini is a lot thinner. It's about the same width, or whatever you want to call it. So it's a similar comparable size. This iPad is much lighter than this. Now, going back to the reason I have it for commuting, it's also that I don't have to put it into a bag, I can put it into a pocket. Now, this size one is getting a little bit big for pockets, so you can't really put it in an inside pocket unless you've got like a large raincoat or something with a nice big pocket in it. It has to go into sort of an outside jacket pocket. The earlier ones, which, just for information, I have a nice stack of them here. These are some GPD units. Sorry, we're probably over exposing there. So these are a few of the 3 GPD units which I accumulated over the years as an attempt to fix my commuting boredom. This is the first one. This is a Pocket 1, GPD Pocket 1. This isn't bad. It's got a nipple mouse, which is kind of not too bad. You get quite used to that. But it's got an Atom processor in it, and although it was top of the line Atom processor, these are, well, they're slow, and it shows. And also it's got some really slow eMMC storage on it. It's got 8 gig of RAM, which is good, but the 128 gig of eMMC storage is really slow. And so, although I did do a fair amount of work on this when I had it, oh well, I still do have it when I used it, the problem with it was always that, you know, you couldn't really use this as for serious work on a day-to-day basis, but it filled in the time during my commute. So then, what I should say is that this has got a full HD screen. It's 1920 by 1200, so it's a 1610 aspect ratio, and that it's pretty good. Keyboard layout's a bit dodgy, but you do get used to that pretty quick. And the next one that I bought, which is GPD Win 2, which is really meant for the gaming community. But the reason I went for this is that it had an M3 7Y30 processor in it, which although this one was a 4-core 4-thread Atom processor, and this one's only 2-core but 4 threads, so it's hyper-threading. It's a significant improvement because it can manage far more instructions per cycle, and if you compare the sort of timings for it, it's about twice the speed in a single threaded mode, and it's about twice as fast as this thing, the Atom processor, when it's running 2 cores, 4 threads. So there was a significant uplift in performance on this. Although the screen's smaller, this one has a 7-inch Full HD. This one's got a 6-inch, and it's like a 720p 16:9. It's 1280 by 720, and it's only 6 inches. So don't know, it was okay, but the best thing about it was, though, is that it's got a SATA M.2 SSD in it, which you can replace. This one here is soldered in. This one you can replace, but it's not the sort of normal size. It's a stubby version of it. So I did actually upgrade this SSD to a 256, I think. So that's that one. So this was okay as well, and you kind of got used to it, even though it had a really sort of small screen. 6 inches, there's a limit to what you can do, but you'll notice the mice are the sort of gaming console here, but you can actually use it in a mouse mode, which is what I tended to do. It takes a bit of getting used to because the left and right mouse buttons are behind. And there's also a way to sort of speed up the movement, because this is only a joystick control, so you can, I think it's this bottom right one, and you can double the speed or triple the speed of the mouse movement. It's okay, you can kind of manage with it, but it's really meant for gamers and whatnot. So then they came out with the Pocket 2. Now the Pocket 2 looks very much like the Pocket 1, and it is quite similar in a lot of ways. It has the same 7-inch Full HD plus display. So, and if anybody wants to know, can you open it with one hand? None of these will open with one hand. You've got to prise them apart. And this one, again, yeah, it has Full HD, and they've gone to using this infrared mouse, which is a bit of an afterthought, actually. But what I would say is actually this isn't bad, because when you're commuting, you can hold it like this with your elbows in. You're not like down here with it on your lap and your whatever. You can type away like this, and it's just about the right size for you to be able to go around and type. Again, the keyboard's a little bit out of the way on here. The left mouse button here, the right mouse button's there, and so you can quite easily operate this. Even when you're standing up, you can do stuff on this. And this has an M3 8100Y in it, which is probably about, I don't know, maybe 20% faster than what's in this unit here. What I would say about this one, although the mouse isn't great, but you do get used to it, the keyboard on here is actually, you can get, I mean, you're never going to be able to touch type on it, but actually I quite liked it. It's I still do like it. This keyboard really, yeah, gets all over the place. Just don't seem to be able to get that right. That is one of the problems with these small form factors. So that's that. And then I noticed only, I think these have been out for about maybe 4 or 5 months, but maybe longer, 5 or 6 months. But I came across this, which is this OneMix device. And this OneMix device is a serious upgrade on the processor. So this has got an i5 10th generation processor with 4 core, 8 thread, and so I thought, wow, that's quite something. So it's also got a 2K screen, so that's 2560 by 1600. So again, we're in the 16:10 aspect ratio, which is nice. It's 8.4 inches compared to the 7 inches of the 2 pockets and the Win 2, which was 6 inches. And all in all, the performance on this is awesome. To be honest with you, you could put this processor into a laptop and you'd be happy with it. It also, all of these 3 here had 8 gig of RAM. And I think they all had 128 gig, yeah, 128 gig of hard drive in them. This one has got 16 gig of RAM and 512 gig of SSD. It's PCIe SSD soldered onto the main board, unfortunately. Just to be clear on here, when they came out of the Pocket 2, just to go back in here, they had the Win 2 first, and that had the M.2 SSD, but this one they went back to having it soldered in, and it's back to being eMMC. However, it's eMMC 5, which is a significant performance boost on the crappy eMMC that's in this thing. So I will actually still recommend this this device. It's not bad. However, you will see that there is a significant difference in size on these things. So this will quite easily fit into a jeans pocket or an inside jacket pocket where you might put your wallet, but this won't. So you need to have either have an outside jacket pocket or some other means of being able to carry it. So that was a size comparison. Lifting the lid, yeah, you're not going to be able to do it with one hand. I'm not quite sure why people are so fixated with that. I mean, obviously, if from the point of view of accessibility, you know, it's perhaps a nice to have, but for a lot of people, it's not really a reason that they should buy or not buy it. I'm going to tell you, the fingerprint sensor on this is by far the best fingerprint sensor I've ever used. So there we go, always gets it. No problem at all, so I'm quite happy with that. Now, the other thing which this does, which none of the other ones did, is it's got a so we can operate it in tent mode, so that's neat. And also, if you want to operate it in tablet mode, you can do that. Now, I'm just going to give you a caveat here. This is great, and you know, pretty happy with all of that, but one of the things which isn't quite so good is that not all of the keys are disabled when you're in tablet mode. So if you're not careful, it's possible to accidentally press the on-off key, because that one is still enabled when this is closed. And the other thing is, when you're operating in tent mode, which you might be doing, say, you know, you're lying on the bed or something like that, all of the keys are active. So it's really easy to accidentally press one of the keys. So that's I prefer it that they actually disable the keyboard as soon as you sort of, I don't know, I guess go beyond, I guess here, it's probably, I would say, it's probably time to disable the keyboard. So that's just something I should mention to you. And while we're at it, and we've got it in sort of semi-tent mode, I guess what we'll do is we'll get it. Oh. Well, that's no good, is it? Oh, there we go. Oh, I'm not sure what's going on here. Oh, well, that's good. Haha! So, here's something to note. Because this is an infrared mouse, and it was on a wood surface, and I had it upside down, it wasn't disabled when it was in this sort of semi-tent mode. It disabled me pressing things on the touchscreen. So, there you go. Touchscreen does work, but if you've got this active, it disables it, which is so frustrating. I hadn't noticed that before, but I guess maybe I don't use it on a too much on that kind of surface. Let me see if I can put it on some white paper. There we go. No, it obviously thinks it's got something, so if I lift it off there, yeah. So obviously, as soon as it thinks it's got that infrared setting on there, it just says, "Oh, okay." That's kind of interesting. So that's a feature which isn't great. Now there is a pen thing on here as well, so I can write stuff on here. This is a test, and it's pretty responsive. I was trying to work out if it is actually. I think it is a little bit pressure sensitive, but it's, you know, I'm sure there are much better options around than compared to that. So yeah, as soon as you've got it on, if you look, if I move this around on this piece of paper, can you see the mouse moving? Oh dear, that's terrible. I guess if I put it completely down like this, it's okay. So you could use it like this, for example. Yeah, so if you maybe use something to just lift it up a little bit that isn't the keyboard, but that's quite a bad design feature, isn't it? Okay, I hadn't noticed that before, but other than that, I had noticed if you have it slightly open, the keyboard still operates. So going back to the keyboard, the layout's not great. It's the tab up here, frustrating, but it is significantly larger than the keyboard that we had on this Pocket 2. So although it's a similar layout, the Del key and the tab key in particular are a bit frustrating to use, and also you'll see that it does have two shift keys, because some of the devices I've noticed get rid of one of the shift keys. There's no Alt Gr key. You do have to get a little bit used to the keyboard. Okay, the tab is probably the worst offender for that. So that's some notes on that. I've got some other notes here. Oh, one really nice feature on here is that it will charge from a USB-C, a 5-volt USB-C charger. So in fact all of these devices that I've shown you, these GPDs, will do the same thing. They all charge from a 5-volt charger, or the charger they supply with it, I think there's 9 volts and 12 volts. So it normally would charge from that, and of course it'll probably charge a bit faster as well, rather, because the maximum on USB-C at 5 volts is 3 amps, so that's 15 watts. So but when all else fails, you can always use a 5-volt charging cable from a normal USB-A connector. So that's quite a neat feature. One other thing about the screen is that it looks nice and bright here, but what I will tell you is that when it's in sunlight, it's useless. So just keep that in mind. It's reasonable enough for most indoor scenarios, but useless if you take it out in the sun. So there's a fan in this as well. I don't particularly notice it. I know some people get a bit upset about fan noise. I'll be honest with you, it doesn't bother me at all, so you know, it's not a problem for me. The processor in it, as I say, is a 10th gen unit, and that's one of the reasons why this is, I think it's gone down to the 10 nanometer process. If it's i5-10210Y, I think that's so that's one of the reasons why they can get more power by increasing the number of cores. Now I'm going to go for just to go on about the ports a little bit here. Let's see if we can get a bit of focus on there. I'm not sure if that's got it or not. You'll see here I've got a micro SD. I've just got a 512 gig micro SD, which I keep a load of apps on, so I can just move them around on various devices. There's a USB-C here. Now this also will provide 4K 60p, so if you've got the appropriate adapter, but of course it's all very well being able to have 4K 60p coming out of here, but you also need to be able to power. This is the only means of powering it as well, so power and charging it. So if you do want to use this for use on a display, you make sure you get an adapter which will take power delivery as well as separating out the video. Standard USB Type A port, which is really nice, because these days I don't know why they think it's a feature, but there's so many things that still use USB Type A. Getting rid of it, I think, is a mistake. And there is an HDMI, a micro HDMI out here. Now note, this does not do 4K 60p, so or at least I haven't been able to get. I've tried it on 2 different monitors, I've tried different cables, you name it. This will not do 4K 60p. It will do 4K 30 frames a second. And this here is a headset connector, and this will take a microphone and or headset. So if you've got earbuds, for example, from your phone, I've tried it with both an Apple headset and with an Android one from a Hawaii. I could never pronounce it. Hawaii. Anyway, I've tried both of those headsets. Both of them work. However, if you start pressing the control buttons on the headset, all bets are off. So you can use it for Skype calling and whatnot, which is kind of quite handy. There is an internal microphone somewhere in here. I had a go with it, and oh my goodness, it is so useless. Please don't even bother using the internal microphone. It's so useless. If you try to have a teleconference using that, you won't have many friends left by the end of it. One thing which many other people have mentioned as well, this thing collects fingerprints like there's no tomorrow. I cleaned this up before doing this video, and already it's got some finger marks on it, and yeah, it's just a fact of life of this device. So from the point of view of a machine that can be, I should have just mentioned the pen, by the way, came with the device. I'm not sure if that's offered on all scenarios, but when I bought this one, it did come with the pen. So does it fulfill my commuting requirements? The answer is yes, it does. I'm far more likely to get this out than a proper laptop. It's the convenience of it. It's just sitting in your pocket. You don't open your bag. Battery life's fairly reasonable, although I think I mentioned in other videos that actually I'm generally, you know, my commute is only about 40 minutes, so it's not really a good test for it. But I tend to make sure that I'm well set up for charging options. So you know, when I get into my office or whatever, not that I'm doing much of that these days, thanks to COVID, I don't, you know, I can just plug it straight in and it's just charged up in, you know, in half an hour or something for the 40 minutes that I had at my commute. So do I recommend it? Yes, I do. I think they're about 800 quid or something. So what's that? That's well, it's probably normally get the same in dollars, don't you? And for 16 gig of RAM, 500 gig, nice fast PCIe with a 10th generation processor. And just to give you an idea, this is over 3 times faster than that original Atom unit that we had here, just on raw CPU. But of course it's not all about CPU, it's also about things like particularly the storage. And so you got 16 gigs, so you got lots of you can run some virtual machines on here, etc. And also, because the screen is an 8-inch screen as opposed to, it's actually 8.4 inches, it's actually bigger. The screen is actually bigger than an iPad mini, so because you've got that bigger screen real estate, much better for sort of productivity and development. So yeah. Oh, there's no webcam. So if you're expecting to use this with a webcam, you're going to be sorely disappointed. On a personal note, I much prefer not to have a webcam, because it means that I can do my teleconferences in pyjamas. And with that, thank you very much for watching. I appreciate it. Cheers now.